All right, guys, we get a lot to talk about. If you were here at the start of the show, and it looks like most of you were, I'm sorry, I have to repeat myself. We've got tons of Apple stories to talk about today, and I'll be honest, I was worried. I was worried at the start of the planning when I was making the show notes. I was like, we got nothing. But then, thank the Lord above, it looks like Apple is planning a mysterious hardware release on December 8th. We'll tell you about that. It's coming up real soon. We're also going to talk more about the M1 Max. I'm sorry, are you guys getting tired of this yet? I feel like all I do every week is just repeat myself about how incredible these machines are, but there's more benchmarks. I mean, the more benchmarks I see, the more I think to myself, this is like spotting Bigfoot or a unicorn. Like you just can't believe what you're seeing. It's just too good to be true. The myths have become reality. And I'll tell you what, there's just no reason you should spend your money on anything but an M1 Mac. And I'm talking about anything like mortgage payments, rent payments, anything at all. The only thing that you should be purchasing in the next 30 to 60 days is the M1 Mac. And the desktop version of these they're going to put Intel out of business. So we'll talk about that. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. If you have an older iPhone, you're going to want to stay tuned because Apple secretly added a new feature for you that I think you're really going to like. We'll talk more about that. And LK is going to talk about iPhone 12 and how crazy it's selling. And let me take a look at the stock price here. I like this story, and I like what it's doing to the stock price. Let's see here. Before we dive in, let me give a very hearty thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Oh, wait a second. I got to go into browser mode. Let's see if this works. I haven't set this up yet. No? Let's go into browser mode and hit up the right tab. Where is it? There we go, baby. Squarespace just added an all-new feature that I think you will really like. They just keep adding powerful new features. A while back, it was Squarespace Commerce, which was an incredibly powerful feature. It's one that I use for cultcloth.co. And now they've added Squarespace memberships. So Squarespace memberships, it allows you to create a members-only space. And I would recommend that you make everyone wear members-only jackets to have the right attire when they're in your members-only space. And you can create a new stream of opportunity for your business. You can create a members-only area. You can charge for membership. And then you can give them access to all of these different resources privately, like video content, educational content, you name it. And it all bolts on to your existing Squarespace website. It's yet another reason to use Squarespace. If you don't have a website, they just keep adding more and more powerful features. And it's really the only place that you need to go to build a beautiful website for your business and then monetize it so that you can grow and prosper. You can sell products and services of all kinds. Now you can build a membership area and charge members to have access to all this premium content. It's a really cool, powerful feature. You can check out Squarespace at squarespace.com/cultcast. Get signed up for a free trial. And if you like what you see at the end of the 2-week trial, you can use code cultcast at checkout. You'll get 10% off your first purchase. And you also get a free domain name if you buy a year of service and additional discount, which is what I do. So head on over to squarespace.com/cultcast to get started. And the offer code to use at checkout is cultcast. All right. Where are we going here? Where are my notes? Oh, there we go. Oh, thank God. Lewis, you're first because I need a drink of water. So take it away, Lewis. Let's talk about Apple's mysterious plans for their new hardware coming up.
Seems like Apple might actually have a Christmas surprise up its sleeve, as previously rumored. An internal Apple memo was leaked to Mac Rumors from an unnamed reliable source, and this memo alerted service providers to prepare for new product SKUs. Is that how you pronounce it? SKUs? SKUs?
Yeah, that's how I say it.
New product SKUs, new and updated product descriptions, and new updated product pricing. They're supposedly going to get the new info at 5:30 a.m. Pacific time next Tuesday, December 8th.
What time?
5:30 a.m. Pacific.
5:30 a.m. Pacific. Okay. And
What's that? Probably like a half an hour before the East Coast stores open or something, or maybe an hour and a half. I don't know.
I don't really like this
What time they
whole.
open?
I don't like this whole early morning. This whole early morning.
Just in general.
Yeah.
Just in general, don't like early mornings. Yeah. Who
I don't like this whole early morning product drop cycle. 5 a.m. is just crazy. I mean, I realize that Tim Cook's already been up for 6 hours. He's been doing push-ups for 6 hours straight by that point, which is how he keeps so strong and lanky. But it's a little too early
West
for
Coast
me.
problem.
So, Lewis,
Everything starts too early.
we don't really know exactly what we're getting here, though, do we?
Exactly. I mean, it makes you think, well, is it going to be AirPods Studio, the headphones, that we've been talking about forever, the AirTags, tracking tiles? Who knows? I mean, it could be anything. For that matter, I mean, I suppose it could even be new watch bands or something, But
I saw some speculation. Yeah, it's the wallet, the iPhone 12 magnetic wallet, MagSafe wallet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what kinds of stuff they've got that they could produce related to that stuff. And I don't know. Anyway, but apparently they did this same kind of a thing before the iPhone 12 came out. The same basically the same boilerplate kind of message. New product SKUs, new product descriptions, new pricing coming at this time. So that made it seem like maybe this is a little more substantial than just we got some new watch bands in blue.
Watch bands in blue, where?
Blue watch bands.
God, it's kind of late, though, to be releasing new products, don't you think? I mean, December 8th.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I don't see why they would, especially something like AirTags. I mean, that seems to me like the kind of thing that would really benefit from a big, grandiose display. Here's what this will do for you, as opposed to if they're releasing a new MacBook based on an Intel chip or something, it's like, okay, well, it's not a press release. Everybody knows what that is. Nothing. There's no explanation needed, right? But AirTags, I think a lot of people really need somebody to explain to them why they want that. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, they're not for non-nerds at this point. They're kind of esoteric. But eventually people will understand the idea of tracking things through tracking technology, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's. I don't think that they would release that with just a press release, because I think it's too big of a concept to explain. The headphones, that seems a lot more likely, because headphones. I mean, everybody knows what headphones are, right?
These are supposed to have very special 3D spatial tracking abilities, though, right? Because the spatial audio. I mean, I'm not exactly 100% sure what that is exactly, but when you're
just like with the AirPods Pro currently, right?
Have you experienced that yet, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, so it sounds like my phone. I didn't find it to be that mind blowing like some people have, but I don't. Again, I usually am listening to podcasts more than I'm listening to content that uses that kind of spatial audio.
I think Warren Sklar from the chat, I think he might have nailed it. He's saying new U2 album. Available on your phone immediately. You don't even have to buy it. It's like, wait a second, why are all my apps deleted? Oh, because I have a 2 gigabyte YouTube album there. Every time you open your phone, a Bono animation comes on and he does something for you. That could be it.
Such a thing is.
Look, maybe they'll toss a product release into the Mariah Carey Christmas special. Doesn't that happen this Friday?
Dude, the Mariah Carey Christmas special. That's so funny. I was listening to a Mariah Carey Christmas song recently, and I was just thinking to myself, whatever happened to Mariah Carey? Am I just out of touch? And then I said, no, it's the kids who are wrong. And some of the other pop stars that used to be really famous, like Christina Aguilera, whatever happened to her? Is she still around? Is she even still alive? I have no idea. But doesn't a Mariah Carey Christmas special seem like well, actually, it kind of fits right in, doesn't it? It's all of Apple's content. It's like Tim Cook's greatest hits. We got a Peanuts special. He's promoting Bruce Springsteen. I mean, it's like everything that Tim Cook has loved through the course of his life. Those are all the things that get promoted on Apple TV Plus. I'm telling you, we are probably weeks away from a Three Stooges remake on Apple TV Plus, and Tim Cook is gonna love it. He's got Oprah. He's gonna have Three Stooges. Charlie Chaplin's gonna be next, and he's gonna have magic tricks with the reincarnated remains of Harry Houdini. It's gonna be worth your $5 a month for sure. I was just gonna say though,
odd mix.
yeah, real quick though. So we are expecting, at least at this point, per Mac rumors, that Apple's planning a mysterious hardware release on December 8th, like Lewis said. But I don't think this is going to be anything major, because if they don't call an event for this, if this is just going to be a press release, then they're not going to drop some new MacBook Pro. I mean, they could. I don't think they're going to. They're not going to drop some huge new machine or some huge new product and then release it with a press release. I just don't think that's going to happen. I hope it does. I hope that it does. I have decided that I was gonna buy a 4K TV. I'm not gonna do that now. I am gonna just live with all of the shame of people constantly shaming me because of my super thick with 2 C's 1080p television from 2000 and I think 2008. I bought it in 2008, but it has an unbelievable picture. Okay, so that's why I've kept it. But I've reserved the money for a 4K TV for the new whatever Pro version of the M1 chip we're getting, MacBook Pro 16-inch, iMac, whatever that is. I'm reserving my money for that because it is going to be an absolute monster. And just to further affirm how crazy the performance is on these new M1 Macs. So they got a Mac Mini running Windows 10. And it turns out that running Windows 10 in emulation on a Mac Mini is still faster than Microsoft's own Surface Pro 10. Let me jump into the story here. New tests show a relatively speedy performance for a Mac Mini with ARM chip. I lost myself there. Oh, there we go. Even though the OS is running as a virtual machine, benchmarks show the device can handle x86 applications faster than the Microsoft Surface Pro 10, which also uses an ARM chip. I won't talk about the benchmarks because I don't want to bore you guys, but it is interesting that you will be able to probably get Windows working on a Mac at some point, because I know some people that are on the ARM Macs at some point, because I know some people that's like a big hang up for them, right? They really want to be able to run Windows. The only thing holding it back at this point is the fact that Microsoft doesn't sell a M1 or a ARM version of Windows to consumers. They only sell it to OEMs. So if you're building a computer, if you're Dell, they'll sell you a license. But you can't just go buy a license, which is kind of a bummer because you're going to want to run Windows on your Mac, I think. And if if Windows is available on ARM chips to consumers, I think you're going to see a return to boot camp, which is going to be exciting for some. Only the most hardcore of nerds, but they're going to get pretty excited about that. I want to tell you guys though, it's that time of year where you're thinking about buying gifts and you're thinking about buying things for other people, right? Because it feels better to give than receive. Not this year. I think you need to write all that off. Okay. Don't buy any gifts. Don't buy any food. Don't buy toilet paper. Use the hose outside if you need to. What you need is this new M1 Mac, and I'm going to tell you why here in just a sec, okay? So I want to give a huge shout out to Max Tech. If you're not familiar with Max Tech, great channel. And I actually think he's in Washington as well, which I like. It makes us friends if we're in the same geographic region. So I'm going to try and hang out with him. I'm probably going to just show up at his house and see if he calls the cops or not. But he has a great tech channel, and he's making all sorts of videos comparing different Apple products. And he made some videos in the last week comparing the new M1 Mac Mini to the decked out, the last version decked out Intel i7 Mac Mini, and also the new 13-inch MacBook Pro M1 to the 16-inch MacBook Pro with Intel chips. And dudes, I'm telling you, these performance benchmarks that I'm about to show you are not believable. They are not believable. These M1 Macs are completely insane. And I apologize. I know I say this every week now, okay? But I'm about to show you some benchmarks that I just pulled snapshots out of his videos, and I'll link to his videos in the show notes. Max Tech on YouTube. You can just Google it. MAXTECK. And, or TC. I'm not sure.
TECK.
I think it might be TK.
God.
MEMAXGZF 0.K. I'll have to look it up and put it in the show notes. But let me go into browser mute here. I want to show you guys this. Let me make this big for dramatic impact, okay? All right. You guys get a inside look at the show notes here because I didn't prepare to bring these into another window. Check this out. This is so I'll talk you through all this if you're listening to the audio. I'm looking at some screenshots of benchmarks. This is the Geekbench 5 single score CPU. This is the M1 Mac Mini versus the Intel Mac Mini, the last generation, fully decked out, right? So 6-core i7. The single core CPU speed is 58% faster on the M1 Mac than it is on the Intel Mac Mini. Now, that might not be surprising to some of you, but that's a huge performance increase, right? Let's take a look at the Geekbench 5 Metal GPU score increase. M1 Mac Mini got a score of 22,718. The Intel Mac Mini only got a 4,928 score. That means the M1 Mac Mini is 460% faster in Metal GPU benchmarks. 460% faster. Okay. Here is.
Would that be noticeable?
You might notice that in real life. Here is more of a real world type of test. This is a transcoding test, right? So you're working in video, Final Cut Pro, and you're transcoding whatever you have in your timeline to, a different video format. In this test, this was an R5, a Canon R5 encoding test. Now, if you know anything about the Canon R5, the files are very difficult to work with. Most machines will just completely come grinding to a halt because these files are not well supported yet. They will be in the future probably, but even like the $15,000 MacBook Pro has a hard time with these files. Check this out. So this is an encoding test, a 1-minute clip of video, right? The Intel Mac Mini did it in 3 minutes. The M1 Mac Mini did it in 26 seconds. That means the M1 Mac was 692% faster than the previous generation Intel Mac Mini, okay? I'm going to keep going. I could do this. I could probably do a whole hour on this with all these benchmarks. These are only some of them, okay? Max Tech, it is TECK, or TECH. There you go. See? Corrected. I corrected the record. Xcode benchmark, your developer, right? The Intel Mac Mini did the test in 205 seconds. The M1 Mac did the test in 120 seconds, which means the M1 Mac is 171% faster in this test. Now, let me just stop here and caveat with this. This is a base level M1 Mac Mini that we're talking about here. This is not even the one with 16 gigabytes of RAM. So you're comparing a base level Mac Mini to a fully decked out previous generation Mac Mini with all the bells and whistles, right? So even though this machine isn't spec'd the same as the last gen Mac Mini, it's still got this unbelievably powerful performance. Are you guys seeing Bigfoot yet? I think I see him. He's over there. Let's get back into it. There he is. I spotted him. Okay. A 1-minute H.265 HEVC stabilization test, right? Okay, so HEVC, hard for computers to work with. Most of them have a hard time. They struggle with it. The stabilization test took the Intel Mac Mini 43 seconds. It took the M1 Mac Mini 9 seconds. That's 470% faster. 470% faster, okay? Is your mouth watering yet? Is your beard damp? I got more. I think we got 2 more. I'm saving the best for last. In the Bruce X test, so the Bruce X test is basically like a stress test for your GPU, okay? So now it gets interesting. Here we have the M1 Mac Mini versus the decked out Intel Mac Mini, but then also versus the Intel decked out Mac Mini with a eGPU, which is the 5700 XT that they're using, which is a really powerful graphics card, okay? The Intel Mac Mini got a 104 score. Lower is better, by the way. The M1 Mac Mini got a 15. And the Intel Mac Mini with eGPU, the 5700 XT, got a 14. So the M1 Mac Mini with built-in GPU, Apple's built-in GPU, system on a chip GPU, is basically as fast as an eGPU with a 5700 XT eGPU plugged in. That's like the eGPU combo right here. This is probably like, I'm going to guess $800 worth of extra equipment. The M1 Mac Mini matches it in the Bruce X tests. I can't even say it. I'm so excited. Okay, get your Band-Aids on. This is the last one. I know many of you, I'm sorry, I should have warned you. You should put your Band-Aids on, and there might be some burstage happening here. You're going to have to seek a plastic surgeon to reconstruct your nips. And if they're not fully engorged yet, this last one's going to send them into overdrive, so I've warned you. This is the R5 10-bit 422 HEVC 5-minute clip with no LUT. So this is a straight clip, right? So this is a 10-bit 422 HEVC 5-minute clip. Check this out.
I had to say, but what the heck does any of that mean?
It's so easy to say. It just stumbles right off the tongue.
I know this might sound confusing for many people, but these are measures of image quality. So 10-bit. So it's not an 8-bit file. It's a 10-bit file, which means that it has an extra. There's a lot of extra color information present in the file. Okay. 422 is the way the 10-bit is sampled. So it could be 420 or 422. So basically 422 means there's extra information within the clip. HEVC means that it is the newer H.265 format, which H.264 is really common in video compression and video encoding, I should say, and H.265 is the like the future version. That's what Apple uses on their phones. Like when you record a video, it's H.265. Okay, and a lot of computers today struggle with H.265. They're just not ready for it yet. Okay, including some recent computers like the iMacs and like the Mac Pro. Okay, so let me jump back into it. This is the final benchmark here. So the R5 10-bit 422 HEVC file, 5-minute clip. In the encoding test, the Intel Mac Mini did it in 20 minutes, 20 seconds. The Intel Mac Mini with the 5700 XT eGPU did it in 10 minutes and 55 seconds. The M1 Mac Mini did it in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That means the M1 Mac Mini is 673% faster in this test than the Intel Mac Mini, which did it in 20 minutes and 20 seconds. And it's 366% faster than the Intel Mac Mini with the eGPU bolted on. You guys ready for this? I think I sprained myself. I did this in my video the other day. I babied so hard that I think I sprained something in my side. So there you go. I hope that wasn't too boring. Was that boring, guys?
Not at all.
What? Huh?
I know for
Liz
Leander.
just woke up.
Leander just arose from his slumber, but I know for a lot of you who are watching this, who are looking at this from a performance perspective, maybe you're a video editor, you're like, this is insane. All that, let me just summarize it by saying this. All that to say, I think the M1 Mac Mini is probably the best Mac that you can buy right now. I don't think I would buy anything else. It's $900. You can get the base version, and you can have an unbelievably powerful video editing and audio editing, screaming fast performance machine. I mean, it's beating the $15,000 Mac Pro in some tests. It's beating the iMac Pro. It's beating the iMac, destroying them. I mean, as you just saw in many of these tests that I just showed you, it's not just winning by a little bit. It's winning by a lot in a lot of these tests. Now, these tests were versus the Mac Mini from last generation. But I've seen tests like this where it's the 13-inch MacBook Pro, the new one, the M1, versus the 16-inch MacBook Pro versus the iMac. And these results are true across the board. The M1 Mac is just it's unbelievable. The performance increases are just insane. And this is just the first version. The performance version, whatever they use for the 16-inch MacBook Pro, I'm assuming that it's not going to be the M1 Mac. The version that they use for the iMac Pro, these are going to be powerhouse chips. They're going to deliver benchmarks unlike anything that we've ever seen before. And probably when you see them, your brain is going to not be able to comprehend the information in such a way that it's just going to start leaking, and you're going to start shooting brain juice out your ears onto your jackets and your friends who are sitting to your left and your right.
Sold.
So, I'm sorry if that was boring, but I think that will be the final exhibition of these insane performance benchmarks that I'm seeing until we get the next version of the M1, whatever that materializes to be. But I just can't believe what I'm seeing. And the other thing too is, and I'll stop talking after this, is even the reviewers who are doing these reviews, even they don't believe what they're seeing. Like when they're going through and they're doing these reviews, they're like laughing and they are shaking their head in disbelief. They can't believe what they're seeing. This is just crazy. All right. That's it. That's all I got.
Have you seen many things comparing the Mini to the Air to the Pro?
Mm-hmm. Yes. All sorts of stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering. I mean, a few things I've seen make it seem like there's maybe not even that much difference between the Air and the Pro, and I haven't heard that much about versus the Mini.
Yeah, so the differences that I've seen have been mainly in duration of performance. So the MacBook Air M1 is able to deliver really impressive results, but it's passively cooled. So it can't do those feats of performance very long because the chip gets hot, right? But the iMac or the Mac Mini has a fan. So it's able to keep those performance metrics going, indefinitely. So you get that same power, but it's sustainable power, right?
I see.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there are some ways where the Mac Mini performs better than the MacBook Air M1. I'd have to go in and double check, but like I said, it's just what are you gonna say about it? It's just crazy. It's hard to believe.
What about Mini versus Pro?
Mini versus Pro. They're similar, actually. They're very similar in performance. Yeah. I mean, as far as I recall, they're like very similar. Not a lot of differences, which makes sense because they both have the same system on a chip, same SoC. So
they're both cooled,
and they are both cooled. Yeah, but the 13-inch MacBook Pro is much more expensive than the Mac Mini, right? So you could just get a Mac Mini,
touch bar,
but you get the touch bar, and that's worth a lot. How much would you have to pay? Like, let's say Apple made it an option on your MacBook Pro purchase, and you got to name your price. How much would you pay to have the touch bar included? And then it gets to a certain threshold, and you'd be like, no, I just want regular keys.
I think I'd pay $25.
That's
because I've used it about 5 or 10 times.
That's the exact number that I was thinking in my mind, $25. If we're any more than that, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe I'd pay $40. My max might be $40.
$49.99.
No.
$39.99. Nice.
You tried to pull a marketing trick on me. No, I just said 40. Not 48, not 46, just a straight 40. Because I only touch the touch bar, I'd say once every 2 weeks. So I think that's enough for me. Okay, Lewis, I think I've talked for long enough. Oh, but before we move on, I almost forgot. We have to give a very hearty thank you to Netgear for supporting this episode. And then, Lewis, you can jump in and tell us all about the new feature that is getting added to the older iPhones, because I think people are really going to enjoy these a lot. So let me jump back into my notes here real quick. And, oh, wait, no. There we go. God, why didn't I get this set up beforehand? Here we go.
Oh, gee whiz.
We're going into browser mode. Ready? Here we go. We're going deep. That's me going into browser mode. That's the sound effect I'm going to use from now on. 'Tis the season to upgrade your Wi-Fi. When you're connected to your world by Wi-Fi, be sure it's the best. Orbi Wi-Fi 6 from Netgear is the gift that keeps on giving. It covers your entire home with the fastest Wi-Fi so you can stream your favorite shows and movies, video chat with family far away, and work and learn from home on more devices than ever before. In any part of your home, it's Wi-Fi worth celebrating. Don't miss the holiday season's exclusive offers on the best Wi-Fi ever. Find out what makes Netgear America's #1 choice for Wi-Fi at netgear.com/best Wi-Fi. That's netgear.com netgear.com/best Wi-Fi. You know, they say that you can chat with family close and far away, but I chat with my family in my own house. We're in the same house in different rooms. We're chatting. I'm like, I can't be bothered to get up and go talk to you face to face. I'm going to sit here. Actually, with all my kids in my house, sometimes I only want to do it virtually. I'm like, because then I can hang up whenever I want, right? And they can't just follow me around the house as kids like to do. Okay. Netgear.com/best Wi-Fi. Lewis, take it away. Tell us about this new feature that Apple just quietly added to all the older iPhone models.
So it's been out for a while. Back in early November, Apple released iOS 14.2. A bunch of new features, but what they didn't mention was the apparent addition of support for 1080p FaceTime calls on iPhone 8 and later devices. Looking at Apple's iPhone comparison tool, Apple now makes it clear that FaceTime HD, that's what they call the 1080p stuff, over Wi-Fi is available on all models, including iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus, blah, 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 all the way up through 11 Pro Max. What that means is that when it comes to using FaceTime HD, the only advantage of the iPhone 12 series is support for the resolution over both Wi-Fi and 5G. Which, by the way, have you had a chance to use 5G yet?
No, because my phone only has 4G LTE. Actually, it has 5GE. Does that count?
Every now and then I get onto 5G, and it's just about as fast as the old LTE was. Just about. Almost
No,
that fast.
come on. It's got to be faster than that. All the tests that I'm seeing,
All the
tests that I'm seeing, people are like, it's crazy fast. It's 14,000 gigabits per second.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
not
if
what
you live in a metropolitan area, but here in a backwater like San Francisco,
dude, come on. You
where
live in San
nobody has
Francisco.
any tech or anything like that. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so that's just a nice little bonus, right? Everybody that has a phone going back to an iPhone 8, now you can do FaceTime in that high def thing. You get to see just everybody's face just a little bit clearer. Oh man.
Well,
Irfan, you're more excited about this than I am.
I guess so.
I don't want anybody seeing me in high def.
I guess
for
so.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I think the reason that I thought this was exciting is Apple funny. First of all, I think it's funny because they enabled this feature, and clearly they could have done it previously. So they nerfed their older iPhones to not have this feature. It seems that's the way it seems. I don't know. Maybe they developed some new algorithm that allows them to broadcast 1080p over Wi-Fi that they didn't have before. But I don't believe that. I think that they nerfed their hardware so that you'd only have 720p on the older iPhones on the FaceTime camera. And now quietly, and actually this just confirms my hypothesis, is they didn't have some new discovery. They just said, okay, let's go ahead and just upgrade these phones now that we're not in danger of, or those devices aren't in danger of cannibalizing the sales of our nicer phones. Let's go ahead and enable this one feature. So now you get FaceTime 1080p, signal on your FaceTime camera. What?
Very
Just can't believe that
cynical.
anybody was sitting there going, well, I just got to get a new iPhone because I got to have 1080p FaceTime calls.
Right.
Well, look, they may not know that they got upgraded from an HD perspective, but they're certainly going to notice the difference. You would think, like, from a visual perspective, I don't know, maybe not. My wife can't tell the difference between 720p and 4K. She has no idea. She just doesn't care. I'm like, we're watching some content, and I'm like, can you tell this is like, super high quality? And she's like, no, I don't care. She'll watch DVDs, she doesn't care.
My wife's the same way.
Yeah, my wife's exactly the same way too. It's like a fuzzy, mid 90s, tiny little, it's all pixelated, and she doesn't care at all. I'm like, how can you watch this?
Yeah, it's gross. We're actually gonna get marriage counseling over this. All right, let's see here. I think we've got one more story in the pipe, and this is all you, Leander Kinney. I know you've been over there relaxing. It looks like you're working on your suntan. The window's open. You got a nice glow hitting your
Catching a
face
few
over there.
rays. Yeah.
And now you got to do some work here. So tell us about iPhone 12 because it's selling like hotcakes, and this is good for Papa E's stock price. I'm going to pull that up while you're doing this story.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it looks like it's the iPhone 12. It's been Apple's best-selling handset, for, literally for years. So in the first few weeks they were available, each of the iPhone 12 models sold far better than any of their predecessors released in the past 3 years, according to a research firm. And the biggest, most expensive version sold far better than any other recent Apple model. But iPhone 12 mini sales might surprise some people. So, quote, this is iPhone series 12 series captured a combined 1.9% install base during their combined launch weeks, a big jump over each of the last 2 years, end quote, said Aman Bansal of Flurry Analytics. Quote, last year, the iPhone 11 series launch captured 1.2% of the installed base. Who pulled this quote out?
Who's putting who to sleep now?
It's just complete. It doesn't, it's so hard to pass. And 2 years ago, the iPhone XS and the XR series captured 1.6%. Ooh,
Oh
whoa.
Boy!
Wow, can't believe it. So
It's almost 100%.
they're looking at the installed base, aren't they? They have an app out there, and they're looking at the installed base of, what kind of hardware is using their app, and then they can extrapolate out from these figures, what some estimate of what the numbers were. And I find it really hard to pass these percentage numbers. But anyway, it's high. It's a lot higher. But the surprising thing is that the iPhone Mini didn't have a high uptake. It's actually quite a low uptake. So the guy from Flurry Analytics said, given the low uptake of the iPhone 12 Mini, consumers may be signaling that a more pocket-friendly device is not as important as once thought, said Bansal. And this is backed up by anecdotal evidence. When Lewis phoned up to activate his iPhone 12 Pro Max with the Verizon support, the support rep told him that they were experiencing a heavy crush of new activations.
Huh.
And so the iPhone 12 launch was gigantic too. She said it was the biggest launch since the iPhone 5S, which set a record back in 2013.
All right, now
That's a fact.
I'm genuinely curious for everyone listening to this or watching this live. Was that interesting or not?
I don't think so.
Does anyone care how many iPhones sold? I honestly don't know.
Well,
Sometimes
yeah,
I think that they
it's-
do, but I'm
fact
like
is-
for people listening, like how is this pertinent to their lives? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Well,
not to their lives unless they're stockholders. I mean, the thing is, if they actually have a banner year for iPhone 12, like they've been talking about, iPhone super cycle for a few years now, right? Every year, next year could be a super cycle. Next year could be, and then this year was 5G might bring a super cycle. But that woman that I was talking to from Verizon, it's completely off the record, just chatting with a support person. But she was, I said, well, what's the problem? It seems like your servers are down. Did I screw up? What's going on? She's like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe. It's just been so busy. There's been so many activations. And she actually said that like 2 weeks prior, I think it was, when they released the iPhone 12 and the 12 and the 12 Pro. She said it was even, busier then. She said it was just crazy the amount of people doing it. She'd been working there for, I think she said 8 years and hadn't seen anything like that since that 5S. And, if Apple actually has a really great year with iPhones, in addition to the great year that they've had with Mac and iPad sales, I mean, it could be insane.
Okay,
And
now
just from a business reporter perspective. I mean,
now
it
that
doesn't
is
mean
interesting.
anything to somebody sitting there going like, oh, I like my iPhone, I like my iPad. But if they, because they've been, making great numbers based on not the iPhone, right? If
Yeah.
you throw in a great quarter of iPhone sales, whoa, could be crazy.
Yeah, now I do like that perspective from a business standpoint. Is how's the stock doing? They're selling a lot of phones. They're selling a lot of Macs. And since we're already talking about money, it might be a good time to just do a quick
no.
Apple stock adventure update.
We need theme music for this.
Can you continue doing that song while I talk about pontificate over my Apple stock?
Wait for people to pay me to stop.
Okay, now just a quick overview of the Apple stock adventure story for those of you that are new, because I know we have a lot of you people here watching live. I purchased $100. I can't even do it. Hold on. $1,000 worth of Apple stock before it split. And I was like, watching it because it was just going up, 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 up. And I have multiple positions. So some I bought really low. Like one of my positions was taken at $268, and then it went up to like $450. So I've got multiple positions all throughout Apple's stock price range. And then it split, and then it crashed. I mean, Apple stock has not been doing great. Let's see here. Actually, look at that. It's kind of come back up. So like the last 3 months, it's kind of been going sideways. So hasn't really gained
It's like
anything.
the Pyrenees.
What's it up to now?
So today it's up to 122.94. So just
What
under
was the split?
123.
What
So
was the split price?
the split price was $450. I think.
112 or something? Was that?
I think it was I think it split at $450 or something. But if we're looking at pre-split price, the pre-split price as of this moment, let me just drop this down. I'll do the math on the fly. Don't even ask me to do it in my head because that's not gonna 122.94 times. Whoops, I said times. Oh no, that's not right. Times 4. There we go. Okay, so this is a pre-split a pre-split price of $491. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's getting back up to where it was. Okay, so the current value of my Apple stock. Let me pull up my portfolio manager here. Oh, an IHOP ad. How weird is it that they show me an IHOP ad in my Apple stock app? It's like people who like Apple stock. Oh, maybe
Like pancakes.
maybe they like Apple on their pancakes.
Right.
They need to do some work on their app. So the current value of my stock is. Do I have a drum roll? No. What's that? No. That's better.
It's the best I can do.
$114,762. It looks like
It's a
I
kick
lost.
in the pants.
It looks like I lost $130 today, but total profit $13,395. That's not bad. I mean, most of this stock I've owned since March, so it's not bad for a return since March. Now, one of the other stocks I recently purchased. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to go into it.
Thank you.
We're almost out of time. But no one wants to hear about my misadventures in Palantir stock, which I just bought. Oh boy,
Oh God.
that's a whole nother roller coaster that we could talk about. But I think the most interesting part about this story that we just covered is this little chart right here. U.S. iPhone install base by model. Here you can see the most popular iPhone by far is the iPhone 11 and the iPhone XR, which maybe even to this day might be my favorite iPhone ever. That is a fantastic iPhone. Picture quality, so beautiful. In some ways, I like it more than the iPhone 11 Pro that I have now. It just takes really beautiful pictures.
Which one? The 10R?
The XR, yeah.
That was the budget one, right?
Yeah. And it
Better
had the
than the 11
LCD
Pro?
display.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about, Fun?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. Unless you turn off the computational mad science. What do they call that feature on the new iPhones? God, I forget the marketing term that Phil Schiller used. Now I want to look it up. Do you guys not know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're saying. I can't remember what he called it either. It's the whole
It's
the whole processing pipeline, right?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm
Image
pulling that.
signal processing or something.
No, Smart HDR is what I want to have turned on. But help me out here, chat. Give me the name of the
God,
feature
you're killing me.
that improves all of the details. Thank you, Ian, for the win. Deep Fusion.
Oh, right.
Do you guys see what I have to work with here? No one even knows the terminology. I send it out to
I
you
haven't a
guys.
clue what you're talking about. What?
It's like I'm playing catch by myself here. I throw it and it just hits the wall and falls on the ground.
Like playing catch
Yes.
with the kids, yeah.
You're like tossing a fish to a seal.
I don't think that I love Deep Fusion. In fact, I turned it off on my iPhone 11 Pro. So Deep Fusion, it will go through and like sharpen things that it thinks need sharpened, and I think it creates, in many instances, images that are too sharp and they look like they're highly processed. I don't love it, so I turned it off. Now the Smart HDR deals with the lighting in your image. And that is phenomenal. It works so well. It will go through and brighten your face. It will bring the sky down. It will brighten elements that are too dark, right? It kind of evens everything out. And it does it in a really artful and a realistic way. And that's what the iPhone XR does. It doesn't have deep fusion. And you can turn deep fusion off, I think. I'm pretty sure it turns it off. And I
How do you
did.
turn
And
it off?
then, you have to go into the camera settings, I think. At least I think you can turn it off. Anyway, I like Smart HDR. I don't like deep fusion. Computational mad science. Okay, look, I'm clearly losing my mind. I've been talking for almost an hour straight. So I think we should go ahead and wrap it up there. What do you guys say? Yeah? Yeah?
Bold move.
Okay, all right. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. That's all the Cult Cast we have for you guys this week. Hey, we're coming back next week and all the weeks for the rest of this month with all of our favorite stuff of the year. This is one of my favorite times, one of my favorite segments that we do. It's all of our most favorite gadgets and movies and shows. So make sure that you come back. Stay tuned for that. We're gonna be broadcasting the show at around 11:30 or 12 every Thursday here on the Cultimac YouTube channel. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Where am I? That's all the Cultcast we have for you guys this week. But if you want to come and say hi to us, we're all on Twitter. I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Leander is at L. Kahaney. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the Cultcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Cultcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for watching. And we'll see you guys next time. Or maybe in the Cult Club. Cult Club is a great place to come hang out. You can also support us. Support.thecultcast.com. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Leander looks like he's found his Zen space. Look at him.
He's been in the Zen mode the whole show. Look how calm he looks.
So
Your
pleasant.
eyes are killing me.
I've never seen him look so
Really?
good.
I can't see this camera setting. You can turn off
Smile on
the-
his face.
Hold on, I gotta end the stream. Everyone can still hear us. All right, guys. I'm ending it now. Bye.
Did Irfan just freeze up?